Welcome to Crosstown Cardboard, episode 31, with my great friend Craig at New York City Sports Cards, the teacher of math, the coach of soccer in New York City, originally on Long Island. Me, Carmine at Carmine's Cards, originally from Westchester County, New York, now a sports and news broadcaster in Southern Oregon, which is the same location, or at least the same state, of where our great guest here is for episode 31. So without further ado, Craig, can you please introduce a major dude in the hobby and somebody who we're lucky to have on our show today?
Carmine, good to see you tonight. I don't think a formal introduction will do it justice. We got to let our guy Shai, AKA Shai Vlogs, just talk and do his thing and showcase his personality here. But as a New York City-centric podcast, right, we've talked a lot about Knicks cards lately. It's only right we have our first New York guest on the show. And when I think about the hobby community in New York City, there's very few people that come to mind as like they represent the New York hobby the best. Shai is definitely one of them. So Shai, great to have you on the pod with us. Let's talk some
Thank
cards.
you. Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. I'm Shai from New York City, collector of sports cards. So let's get it started.
Now you used to do a little bit of sports card podcasting yourself. I remember that was good.
Yeah, so that was a few years ago. It was during like the extreme boom. Putnam Cards just reached out. It's funny that he had a pod once, and it was I think we met at the Dallas show, and we were talking about it, and I was just giving him some advice. And then like the next week later, he was like, "Yo, let's just do a pod together." And then I was like, "Okay." And we had a great run after we did like 10 episodes. It did very well. But then he got into super NFT mode, like hardcore NFT, and he got the CryptoPunk, all that good stuff. So he did well, but that's where and I'm super anti NFT and all. I just don't care about it. It's not my thing. Get it out of my face. Like, don't bring it into the hobby. Like, it's just like So yeah, that's so our things. This like our vision kind of like he kind of it loss of interest from his point of view, and I was still into it fully. So that's just how it kind of ended, basically.
And you haven't stopped, clearly.
Wait, in terms of potting or
No sports cards,
No
right?
collecting.
There's been no break for you.
I went harder, if anything. After that, no, I went like super extreme. Like I think last we left with that pod was like it was a decision of I think Putnam even telling me sell your Kobe Gold Kaboom and buy a CryptoPunk, And I think
Wow.
at that time it was like 60-70K the CryptoPunk, and I think it went like a lot higher. So like maybe shoulda woulda coulda, but I'm happy with my cards.
Straight up.
Yeah,
And I saw that Kobe Gold Kaboom a couple nights ago.
What was that?
So I saw your Kobe Gold
Yeah,
Kaboom
yeah,
a couple nights ago.
yeah.
So shout out to you for the diamond hands.
Yeah. I've had it for now a couple of years now, and it's one of my favorite cards. It's basically it's my only basketball card left in my collection, actually. I just started consolidating into soccer cards primarily fully, and now I can't stop.
Now, yes. So I saw your collection the other day, and so I mean I don't know if I've seen any more impressive soccer collections, at least with my own two eyes. You got to be up there with the best. I'm so serious, man. If you like red refractors and super fractors, golds of just the top players, Messi, Mbappe, you name it, you're the guy. But it wasn't always this way. So can we rewind it way back?
Yeah.
You didn't just grow up into this life of luxury sports cards.
Definitely not. So, I'll just start. I was born in Bangladesh. Sylhet. It has the record of the most densely populated country in the world. Third world country next to India and Pakistan. Survived the Great Flood of Bangladesh. It's on Wikipedia. Like 200,000 people died, and I was like 3 years old. I knew it was we knew it was time to get out of that country at that point. And so, I came here in 91, just, went through from kindergarten through, sixth grade. I was not into sports cards. So then fast forward to junior high, that's when I first got a taste of like, the whole sports card industry. Basically, I was walking on my route to school in junior high. There's a store called Strike Zone on Stanway Street in Queens, Astoria, Queens. And there was like these posters of like Kobe, Jordan, Upper Deck, and all this. And I definitely watch sports and basketball, like any other kid. And I was like, let me go into the store. What is this? Like posters. You just don't see it. Like a hobby shop stands out because it's just like these. It's so different than a clothing store. So I go in there and I see the cards. I was quickly just mesmerized. I was like a numbers guy, like Craig. Like we love math, and So
Yep.
then I saw like the prices, the pack odds, and then the prices. So I was being a numbers guy, like seeing a correlation in that type, and it made sense to me too. More rare stuff is more valuable, more nicer, and all that. So that's when I got first exposed to cards, and I did open what Upper Deck Black Diamond. That was the only product that I could afford. It was like $2 or $3 a pack. Trying to go for that quad emerald diamond of Jordan. Never hit anything nice. So after I got into cards when I was in sixth grade, there was other kids that actually had binder. There was another kid legitimately had that binder story. So that lasted for like a year or two. Fast forward to what? Then I just stopped collecting, I guess, for the next until high school. And then fast forward to 2012. That's when I had like an online business, and I was like, researching on eBay and Amazon and all that stuff. And then like I was like, let me see some of those cards I saw when I was a kid, like the Platinum Portrait Jordan or Jordan autos that I saw. And I remembered vividly, like the prices were so high when I was like 13, I definitely couldn't afford them. So when I saw in 2012, those similar cards, when I typed it, like some things were like $80 are like 800 now. And then other similar cards I saw that I was like, this people still like cards? Like, no way, this is in. Like, and then that's when I just binged. 2012 binged. Like
2012, and we're talking
2012.
we're talking 90s inserts. A lot of that.
yes, only 90s insert. Yeah, yeah. So like if you could scroll all the way down to my page, you'll see like some of those pickups. So in 2012, like I just went hard and crazy. I had a little bit of disposable income from the online business and stuff. So like I bought like Final Floor Jordan Auto for like 1,200, Net Rageous 9.5 for like 300. Like those are like tough to gem. Like it's like a foil card. And like other like a Kobe Platinum portrait, Jordan Platinum portrait, and I still had the price. I wrote down the prices on the thing, like a little thing. So I bought all that in 1 month. I basically spent around like, to be honest, like around like 10K, and then I just stopped. I was like, I'm bugging out because I saw like I was getting every week. I was like doing things like spending more money on cards. So I just stopped, legit put it in a shoebox, 2012. And this was in my parents' house in the closet, my front room, and kind of just like lived life and went to college and all that stuff. Then fast forward like around another 6, 7 years, like 2019-ish, basically pandemic. And again, classic story. Hey, like cards, you're home. And I was like, oh shit, that shoebox. Like, let me see. I had those cards. Like, I knew I had
Oh
some.
my gosh.
That's when I went full deep in, because that boom, like those cards that were, I spent 10, 12K on in 2012. It was, I guess you can say that's how I got my leg up, by doing that play, I guess, accidentally. And that's when like my portfolio, was pretty decent, like 20, like 30K ish maybe. And that's when I knew like, holy shit, there's a shoebox of 30K shit. I legit ran to my mom's house, got all the cards back. And then I made these corny YouTube videos, like recording how much is my card, who wants to trade. And this was before IG was big. So I still had that video on YouTube somewhere with my old collection. And then that led to grading and Zion and then Curiar. So that's my like kind of like a brief rundown of like how I really got into the hobby.
Wow. So how much, Shay, do you think that 10, 12 grand amount of cards was worth by the time from 2012 to pandemic boom? How much do you think it was worth then?
I would say it was like a 3 to 4x.
Okay. Oh, I would have thought a little
Yeah.
more even.
It's not all the cards like went up as much, like
Okay.
for example, like some cards went up a lot. Some cards, like I did buy a Blake Griffin, RPA, the horizontal. So that, obviously that's probably the one loss I took, and that was it. And then I knew I'm not a rookie. I still don't. Like if you see my collection, I was never into the rookie hype ever. I only bought people that like legends, established, and people that I watched that I like growing up that I watched. Always stayed away from the rookie game, and it's just not my thing.
Okay.
Now, I think it's important you shared that story because I definitely look at people's collections and I can't help but think like, how did this person get here?
Yeah,
How they get this big collection? You had the foresight to collect when you collected, and it's not. I wouldn't call it lucky. It was just that was just your interest. It just so happened the hobby that you like that you used to collect. Circumstances worked in your favor.
Yeah, like I knew what I was buying even in 2012, like in a sense that like these were like rare cards of star athletes, and like it is what it is, cards. Like we all know what like a Jordan auto is a Jordan auto. Like 10 years from now, I just mentally thought it has to be worth more. Like it's just that. But then to be at this level, it was definitely a surprise, I'd say.
So how did you decide when you raced over to your mom's house to get that collection, which cards am I going to keep? Which cards am I going to sell now that they've 3-4x'd?
So what's funny is that I didn't really sell much.
Oh.
I was one of those guys, like too much of a collector. I was never a dealer anyway, but this was still mentally like not how I supported myself. It was still a hobby for me. It was nice that it was appreciated a lot, but I definitely didn't sell at the peak per se. But that's why I could have done better, I guess, but who the hell knew it was gonna go as high as it did? And then even now, looking back, like I sold it at a way higher price than what it is now. So, you just never know what's gonna happen in the future. That's how I see it. But one of the last cards I sold, just like the last 3 cards I sold was like my favorite ones: the Jordan Final Floor Auto, the Jordan Platinum Portrait, and the Kobe '98 game jersey. And I also had the '98 game jersey of Jordan, the black
Wow.
pads. Those are the last few cards that I couldn't get rid of, and I paid like $100-200 for those, but I just didn't want to sell them. Like, I just liked them more.
So, Carmine, are you familiar with Shai's Norway story?
No, I would love to
Oh
hear it.
man! So listen, I know you've told this a
No,
million
you
times,
say
but how could we not have you on the pod and not mention this guy Shai and his partner Mark? They're you guys are kind of in this little business together, we'll say, right? You
Yeah,
do a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
these, buying, collecting together.
Yeah.
They went to Norway for maybe the greatest modern soccer card in existence. So, what the heck? You're from Queens to Norway to pick up a soccer card. Maybe share a Spark Notes version of that story if you don't want to get into too much detail, but that's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. So, the Norway was the second crazy soccer card that we actually picked up. The first one was like the Hawaii one. I don't think it was documented as well, because that's when I got more into like content creating, because I realized that this stuff is kind of crazy actually what we're doing, just on a phone call, booking trips across the world legit in 24 hours, and trying to save this deal, or make it happen, because these are like really really scarce rare cards, and they're like hidden around the world. So like when I joke and say security and privacy concerns, like it kind of like it is kind of true. Like you can't really like get too into it, because a lot of people are competing for that same card. But to touch on the Norway story, so we saw one of our good friends from London, Crepes and Cards, also soccer guys. He tagged me in like the Messi Superfractor Auto 2017 Topps Chrome, the first ever Messi Super Auto. And then I looked at it and I was like, okay, that's definitely some sort of important card. First, I just love first year sets, star player, first of, and it Topps Chrome. So it's very easy to understand. So we saw that. Me and Mark reached out to the gentleman. He said definitely not available, not interested. Fast forward a few more months, I just had a late night. We were like, yo, let's try it again. Legit, the guy was like, he's interested in selling it, because he literally sold his place and he's looking to upgrade, move out of his parents' house. I don't want to tell his private stories, but whatever. He was ready to move his car.
He's definitely listening to this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So he was looking to move his car, We gave him an offer. He was thinking about it. A few days passed, finally agreed on something. And when he agreed on it, we were like, oh shit, like this is really happening. And we knew that this was a one-on-one. We knew that we didn't even want him to ship it. There was language barriers, there was currency issues, international transfers and all that. And we told the guy that, dude, we'll come, we'll pick it up. You can meet us, no problem, yada, yada. So we actually just booked a trip, went over to Norway, met the guy, went to his house. He legit lives on a farm with his family. Nice, beautiful family on a farm, actually, middle of nowhere, Norway. Went to his house, went downstairs, saw the card, did the deal, and then we decided to celebrate Mark's idea. Since we're in Norway, then might as well just go to Paris, and then we went to Paris, went to see the Mona Lisa, and then we're like, oh shit, I think this is a Mona Lisa type card. So then we might as well, do a comparison to when we went and saw that. And then we posted it. It got picked up by, some media stuff. And then I guess the rest was history. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
And you bought it as a 9.5
amazing story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I didn't even say that part. See, there's so much. So yeah, we the card was originally a True Gem 9.5 Auto 10. So then we were really looking at the card, and we're like, this looks clean. And we showed it to a lot of people, and they were like, yo, dude, this looks like pretty good. So fast forward to National, I hit up Nat Turner, and I was like, I'm bringing something illegal to the National, and he was like, what the hell? And then if you see Nat Turner's bio, it says that sticker autos are illegal.
He changed it. He changed it. I think he said maybe he changed the verbiage there, but
yeah, but it was something. I played along with that. He was shocked. He was like, how is this guy doing? But then he laughed it off, obviously. So we made an appointment. I was like, yo, I have this crazy card. We're trying to cross it over, and then they said, okay, so, we'll give you the white glove service. Whatever that means.
VIP.
So I'll tell you what it means. It's just like like a private consultation, almost a little bit more of a private care. They have their own room in the National, like the upstairs, if you have like some card stuff you want to deal with. So we gave him the card, and then we had them looked over, and then later on throughout the day, got a text from Nat saying that, yo, he showed me a picture of the card in the 1010, and we're like, I showed it to Mark. We're like, oh shit, this really just happened. And then the rest was history with that card. So we got the bump on the 9.5 also to make it into a 1010.
Wow. So you went to Norway, just to recap so I can fully understand what happened. You went to Norway, picked up this Lionel Messi first year Topps Chrome Superfractor 1/1 illegal sticker auto in a VGS 9.5, and then you cracked it open, got the PSA 1010, and that's basically what happened with the card.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So what'd you do with it? Do you still have it?
Yeah, we still have it. It's definitely a pride and joy of ours. And that alongside with the Ronaldo 2017 Topps Chrome Super, those are two like centerpieces,
Wow.
obviously.
Wow. So what would it take to not that I'm offering, obviously I'm not in a position, but because Craig would bite my head off even if I got that instead of him. But what would it take to move something like that, or what would you consider?
Listen, these are the type of cards where I'm very comfortable in like holding them. They're legit cards in sense of like everybody understands like it is what it is. Like these cards, like for that type of card, like that's you have Prism Black 2014 also, but that's like there's only like 10 handful of cards of Messi that's like it is what it is type cards, and this is like one of them. What would it take? I don't know. I think Messi is going to Saudi Arabia. I was just there a few months ago. The king did buy that painting for 500 million, the Da Vinci. I don't know if you heard. The other it's like the Mona Lisa. The guy that drew the Mona Lisa in an auction was the most expensive painting. So he's into collectibles. He's spending money on Ronaldo, 150 million to play in Saudi Arabia. They're spending 400 million on Messi. And then why would he be into cards? Okay, he was gonna look for signs from legit billionaires people. There are a few of those guys getting in. So that's where I'm at. I'm comfortable holding it. I'm not going to say anything. If offers or something comes along, we'll definitely hear it. But there's no real intention, do anything because that's very comfortable holding it. It is what it is.
Shai, you are right. Leonardo da Vinci. You would know better. I mean, you have the Mona Lisa of soccer cards, so of course you would know. But I mean, you have both. You have the two players of our generation you know.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Yeah, like the Ronaldo is the true super, and then the Messi is like the super auto. So it's like the Ronaldo super auto we've never seen. The Ronaldo variation superfractor is we saw a photo of it on the internet in a BGS 95. No clue who owns it. Very mysterious. The Messi true superfractor, we don't even know where it is. And the variation has been pulled. It's somebody in the hobby owns it. I don't know. Yeah, it's been posted before. It's Mission Streets. I don't know if you know him. So
Wild to think that your card, the Messi Super Auto, was just sitting at a farm in Norway. So these cars could be anywhere, right? We're looking on Instagram,
yeah,
Facebook, whatever it is, but the hobby is so much more expensive than that.
yeah,
Just take this story, for example.
And
yeah.
especially soccer too, because you know the global game, the worldwide sport, most popular sport across the world. I'm interested, Shay, with your transition, or what was your mentality? And we touched on it before we started recording, but Craig didn't want you to reveal too much to save it for the podcast. But your transition from the 90s inserts that you were going crazy over 2012 to becoming one of the best soccer collectors in the world.
All right. Yeah. So when I was like really, really doing basketball only, never even thought about soccer. And then the first major soccer card I got was a crazy soccer card. Was the Ronaldo Super. And then we did get the Super Auto. And those were kind of like my two major soccer cards. And the rest was still basketball. Then like as I continued like hunting for basketball cards, like I started realizing like it just interested me less and less and less. And with my unique situation of having like those two soccer cards already, I wanted to build on that. You know, like kind of like let's be frank, like you can't even be known for anything in basketball. For example, for Kobe, we know it's Spinatron. The guy has a, you know what I mean? There's guys for Luca, we know Chris Hodge. He's like the Luca guys. You know, there's like certain things that certain people already kind of like not cornered, but like they're known for, or like they have so much of it and they've worked hard for it, they built it. So that's why what like got me more and more deep into soccer. It just started making more sense, and the prices was like a pennies on the dollar compared to the same exact principle and ideas in the basketball sector with the same set and top players. How like the difference was it was way too much. I found extreme value, and I just started selling all the basketball cards and just literally just getting into like just full on soccer cards, because the sets are the same. You can, that's how easy to explain it is. Like it's Topps Chrome, it's a top player, and it's red, and it's the same thing in baseball, and it's the same thing in different sports. So it just made sense, and it was legit, like very very pennies on the dollar. What I felt coming from a basketball guy, I know the people that only did soccer, they're probably thinking, no, those are the prices. That's justified. You know what I mean? Certain prices, but I found that it was very undervalued from my point of view, and that's what
We
makes me honest, I think. So
we talk about sets on here that will stand the test of time. So that's a perfect example. Topps Chrome's been around forever, since '96 to be exact. Red refractors existed in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. I remember like Topps baseball products, for example. And
yeah, yeah,
then like the Bowman Chrome basketball had the red refractors out of 5. So
yeah.
talking about sets that stand the test of time. You being a '90s basketball collector at one point, now you're doing this, super rare low pop soccer cards. You've seen the different cycles and everything. I always like to look 10 years from now. What I want my collection to look like. What cards do I think will continue to stand the test of time? I always like to make fun of like Prism Fast Break, where like who's going out and buying a Prism Fast Break bronze bubbles out of 175 parallel, right? Like who really cares about that stuff? But what are the cards that you do see 10 years from now that maybe exist today that's always going to gain interest?
All right, great question. So, like generally speaking, I love first year sets of anything in general. Like that would always open my eyes to do more research. Second, then I would go more deep into does it look nice, and then is it serial? Is the layout of the product like easy to understand, makes sense, and kind of universal. Like for example, a new set that I did not know even existed, or I knew I even wanted, was the Merlin, the 2020 Merlin. I think Craig is a fan of it too.
Yep.
When I got more into it, like there's Topps Chrome, Stadium Club, we all know that stuff. What the hell is Merlin? I don't even know what it was. It's like a brand new set to me. But all I did know it fit something in my criteria to chase it was that it's by Tops. It's Tops Merlin, and it is a chrome product. So that's always like more desired, like Tops and chrome, and it could be like a subset of like Merlin. So and then they had the reds, they had the golds out of 50, the reds out of 10, clean, simple first year design. I was like, dude, I love this. And now I've been kind of low key like building like, a lot of these reds. I'm starting to pick up like, Griezmann, Ludansky, like I'm put like, all those guys in 2020 reds. Like I've been, and if I can, get my hands on like, supers or whatever, I definitely, try to go for it. So that's like one example that I think a set that's undervalued right now. And you can like some of the cards I get, it's under $100. You know what I mean? It's not always expensive cards, and I love them just as much. I'm like so attached to this like $80 card. It's crazy, And when I think about it, it's only $80, But then I don't want to sell it. I love it, I have it right in front of me. So it's weird how that worked out.
Listen, I get it. The Clint Dempsey flawless patch auto that I picked up that I showed you the other night, $100 card, but I'm attached to it.
Yeah,
so,
it's a nice card, man. I love that card.
For like that player, doesn't get much better than that.
See, even I don't follow Dempsey as much, but instantly the fact that you told me, because I know what you had, the Momentous, right? The double patch. And it was $100 and it's flawless. Amazing brand, match worn, star athlete, $100. Like you can't find that in basketball. You can't.
Right. That would be a 4-figure card at least. If you're looking at a basketball star of the same level. But I'm interested, Shai, because you say you didn't even know about Merlin, and here you are, 10,000 Instagram followers, and you got these crazy stories and great soccer card one-of-one collections. And what I'm hearing is the humility to keep learning and keep finding out more. And I'm interested if somebody's listening to this and they're trying to, get some one-of-one action or some rare cards or some cards that'll stand the test of time, how would you tell them to go about approaching learning or figuring out where their lane is that they can make a name for themselves or, fulfill their card journey?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So like, for example, what's amazing about this Panini era, like when it's going to be called the Panini Golden Era, when it's all said and done. I've mentioned that before. Like they made golds into golds. Like they're going to be known for like Prism, like golds out of 10. Like they've established that, I would say, like industry wide, when you think of gold Panini card, it should be out of 10. So like I can respect that. And if you really think about it, there's so many products in Panini's NBA license from 09 till, still running. There's random products, for example, like totally certified. I don't even own one card, nothing. But this is just for me seeing that what goes on in the hobby, what other people are posting. Some people out of nowhere, is this the next PMG green? Is this that? So there's so many hidden, undiscovered sets still left that you don't even know, like Cornerstone Innovation. I bet you there's like interesting product and case hits there that still the stories have not been told yet. There's like, uniqueness about it. If you can actually envision that, see it, then it could be a thing. Like you can still be early in some of these cards, like even 5 years from now. Don't think that you're late. For example, like another way to looking at it, like for example, Kaboom. Like when I saw the Kaboom Gold Kobe in Dallas, I didn't even know what Kaboom was. I wasn't even interested. First of all, when I saw it far away, I was like, what is that gold brick thing sticking out of that showcase? Stuck out like a sore thumb. I had no idea if gold Kabooms even existed. I wasn't even interested in it. I know I never saw it. I saw the price tag. I was like, whoa, what the hell is this? Did a lot of research, couldn't find any information. And then one thing that stuck to me was that how nice it looked, and they only made it 1 year. So I was like, why the hell they did that? 2018 was the only year of gold in basketball and soccer. Soccer only has 1 year of gold Kabooms. So is basketball. I don't know why Panini did that. It's just like it is.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, Kabooms in soccer in 2018 are very special. So if you have a favorite, there's another thing. If you have a favorite soccer player in that set will 100% hold its value or stand the
100%. He gave us 100% guarantee.
Well, Craig is not a big fan of Kaboom, so this is an interesting topic.
Don't blow my cover.
No, this is good. Because you need people, not haters, but you need people to push back and say that this is BS. This is not gonna work. If everybody's on side, yes, it's gonna work, dude, it's gonna collapse. It may work and it will collapse. You need people, because him right here, Craig, eventually these people become believers and they will somehow, oh, you know what? I used to hate it. Now let me try it. Like, it does happen. And the fact that there's a potential is good.
Well, you swayed me a little bit with the gold specifically,
Yeah, gold is different. That's
knowing
different.
there's only 1 year of golds. That is a very interesting tidbit, something to think
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. It's special, man. And Panini, they know what they're doing. You know, like they hear, because I listened to some Panini executive. He was like, dude, we watched the secondary market. We watched like what these cards are comping and rough idea. They know what's working, what's hot. They have an idea. They know what they're doing. Because executive said that. Because I always wonder, like, or do they not care? They just make it and whatever happens, move on. No, they follow along. So I think they knew what they were doing with that set. That's what I believe.
I can't believe to go from not following kabooms, not anything at all, and then you get one of the most desirable basketball kabooms of any player. Like, how do you keep such an open mind? Because that's one of the other things that we talk about going into a show, having an open mind to whatever opportunities might come up, whether that's buying, selling, trading, and being able to be flexible and make decisions, you know, not at the level of a Kobe gold kaboom, but maybe something else in the hundreds or thousands range. What's your mindset as far as being able to do something like that?
All right. For the Kaboom, it was a unique story because it was visually extremely striking. And even for me, seeing so many cards, that's that one card I never knew existed or heard of or seen. So that's what like kind of took my breath away. You know, that's why I still have it, literally, because I still haven't seen something else that can compete. I know there's, downtowns and all those on the horizon, I think, tried. There are a few people trying to push. I was like, dude, that's, I don't know, that card doesn't do it for me. On the horizon, but Kaboom is just different. And before now, like when I first talked about Kabooms, I don't know if you know, I was at Bleecker and there's a guy that came in, and then I don't know if you saw the China video of the Kaboom. So like somehow my story with the Kaboom card, I was joking. He was like, "What do you think it's worth?" And I said, like, on auction, I think this card is gonna go for $250,000, right? The Kaboom Gold PSA 10 Kobe. I was joking. It was on Bleecker. Some dude came in, I didn't even know, and he sold it to China media. So then at the national, so I get a text. It's like, "Yo, you're on the news, right?" And then I'm like, "What the heck?" And then I see that China video. So that caused a lot of hate, I guess. That's when I started getting a lot of like negativity from like a lot of big collectors in the basketball card market, because I know rare cards pumping, they would say, saying a valuation that's so high and there's no comps to justify it. Like, what, and it's on like a newsy type outlet. I never had that intention. It was legit like one of those crazy Bleecker nights, and I just like, anyway, the market was hot. It was wild at that time. So like that caused a lot of heat for me, and that's one of another reasons I kind of like left basketball market. There's like a lot of cattiness, and like just like soccer market is just different. It's a lot of international people. There's a lot of love and passion, I feel. that's and I'm about that. So that's another reason I left the basketball card market.
I just want to point out, I was in the last maybe 3/4 of a second of that China video, and I still haven't gotten a residual check. That should come anytime.
Yo, I have to rewatch that now. Oh my God.
Very, very, very at the end. You'll see.
That's dope. You were there then, right?
Oh yeah,
God.
of course. Bro, I don't miss Bleecker trade nights.
Yeah. Wow. Nice. I love that. That's good.
Now I do want to, since we got a lot of New Yorkers on the show, and you travel, right? Shay, you go to shows. You've been to Dallas, I assume. You go to National. Can we talk about just maybe for a little what it's like to be a collector in New York? Like what makes being a hobby participant in New York, even the city specifically, different and unique?
So here's the thing about New York. I realized so far I haven't met like that many, other than Mark. I haven't really met a lot of like the collectors in New York, because New York, I feel like their shows, I don't know. It's not like New York doesn't have a show like Dallas or even Burbank, and Burbank was invented yesterday. It was their first show, and it felt like Dallas, like it was wild. New York doesn't have that. That's like just kind of like makes me sad, to be honest. Like Hofstra, and the East Coast National, I just think it could just be promoted better, handled better. Even like Prism Gods, like Culture Collision show, I thought like it was like pretty legit. I went there, he put on a real show. Even like a basketball tournament. I was like, okay, like they're really putting in the work, guy getting eBay sponsors, but New York I feel like hasn't shown that yet. So I'm disappointed in the New York collecting community, to be very frank. But the Bleaker is helping tremendously in closing that gap. But still, there's no like major big wild shows where everybody's traveling here.
Yeah, Carmine, you went to Burbank, so you thought it was like we got nothing here.
Yeah, no, Burbank was unbelievable. That show was crazy, and the trade nights were, like Bleaker Trading. I mean, you guys know all about the trade nights, but the Burbank trade nights were something else. That was really where you can get almost like what you're saying, Shai, with the intimate setting where it's like, okay, we're friendly, we can work something out. You like my card, I like yours. Let's see what we can do here. I'm interested how you decide to not sell, like, because you have all these very high valued cards, and I know you do, some that aren't quite as valuable but are still unique. What's the mentality between this card is almost priceless, but I'm gonna still hang on to it?
So right now, in terms of like how to sell, like what I've been buying mostly is I have a theme, I guess. I feel like I found my purpose in the hobby. I think you guys, I know I heard that somewhere. It could have been you guys, like finding a purpose. Like, what is your calling?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like this is my purpose because I genuinely, these are all I think about and chase. Like, I don't even look at like those type of other cards in basketball. Like, I like true base parallel reds of major sets. Very, very simple. The base card, but the parallel red version. And the one-on-one versions. I try to get that in my favorite players. And then once I would get a lot, like accumulated a bunch, I would eventually start kind of consolidating from the smallest cards that I don't care about, and then like moving up towards the cards I really like. But then when you see a really crazy card, you may have to take just the best cards to get that card. And I've done that like many times. And it's tough at first, but then once you get the new card, you're like, what were those old cards again? You just like move on quick. And yeah.
And I think it's important to point out, like you're in the real estate game, correct?
Yeah.
So this hobby thing isn't full time for you.
It takes up most of my time.
It takes up a lot of time, but as far as you needing it to survive financially, that's not what cards is for you. So, I think it's important to point that out because I think what we try to represent are just people who get income out elsewhere, have jobs, and this is a hobby for us, as opposed to people who do this full time. I couldn't imagine if my life like really depended on this to survive. It sounds like it would be stressful, but like shout out to the businesses who make it work.
No, I agree. I am thankful and very lucky, like to be in this position to like even because these are some of these cards are ridiculously expensive, man. Look, to be honest, no card should be worth $1 million, $100,000. Nobody needs $100,000 card. Like for what? Why are we doing this? You tell me. I'll give you the answer. You tell me. Who needs a card for $500,000? For what reason?
Just to FU money, as they say.
Okay,
It's cool. It's cool. It's a pat on the back to have something that valuable.
Well, I look at like a piece of art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like you would buy an expensive art piece because you buy an expensive card just to show it off and enjoy it, I guess.
Yeah, it's legit. It's like a flex, and to show that you're the top and it's the best of the best. You know what I mean? And who has that card? Like who has that? Who has like a LeBron gold? Like whatever card, like you would be associated with that. You know what I mean? Like Spinatron has the green Kobe PMG. You know what I mean? Nat Turner has one. It's like you're building a name for it. It's no one needs a card for that much money. It's because you want it.
Well, you have a super nice Messi Superfactor auto, and that's because you're the best of the best.
It's the chase, man. It's the chase.
I know.
The best of the best, and next thing you know, you get jaded, and you're like, "Dude, the best cost me $500,000 now. Like, what is this? You know what I mean? It can get a little out of control, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
going back to the unrelated rewind about being a New York City collector, I do want to put a positive spin on it, that it's pretty cool that you and I were able to close a deal in person. And it was a matter of just texting you, hey, where are we going to meet? I take the train. We met inside a bank. Like, only in New York can we do that. And I'm back home in 20 minutes.
Yeah. It was this card. I actually still have it.
There
See,
it
I
is.
am a collector.
Oh, that's who it went to. Okay.
Yeah, there it is. We've talked about that on the show before.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
so
Kylian
yeah,
Mbappe. Yeah.
I love this card. This is what I meant. First year Merlin, clean, simple, red bordered. You know, I love this
And
card.
I don't know if you ever look at it like this, but all my cards are tied to memories. So it's not in my collection, but like if I had your collection, I would think about that card, like, oh yeah, that's where I met my buddy in the bank and we were able to make that deal.
Your name is forever associated with that
That's
card.
what
You
I'm
know what I
saying.
mean?
Good.
Like it's just because I think we had a conversation, you know, inside the bank, and you know, I think I was on my scooter. I think it was like raining or something.
It
but
was raining. Nasty day.
Yeah. Nasty New York weather, and we got that deal done. Yeah.
So you were talking about, you know, having this like the clout of I got this card, I'm the top dog. Because we were talking about last episode, you know, being in a competition almost, whether it's with yourself or with other collectors, to have these incredible cards. But I'm interested with your Instagram, Shayway Vlogs. Of course, you post the fun cards, but you also have this comedic side, which, you know, if anybody's listened to the full podcast so far, they've seen your great personality and you have this humble approach, and, you know, you don't take yourself too seriously, and you have a lot of jokes and you keep it light and fun like we like to do here. What's your thought behind making these funny parody videos that you've put on Instagram of, like, you know, fake deals going down, you're on the phone and that kind of thing? You know, how have you decided to get into that? What's your thought behind it?
So I realized, man, like as I 90% of my stuff is like not like legit, not planned. Like some days I like some of a lot of the content for cards, for example, I'll hear a song and I was like, yo, I can edit this like this. The beat drops this. I wanted this card to pop out. This is fun for me, you know, as corny as it sounds. This is part of the hobby too, is making content, you know, talking about your cards, you know. Like you don't have to be always spending money, and you know, to get that fulfillment of, you know, your hobby career or journey or whatever. You know, is to post the cards, talk about it. That's, you know, and the podcast. That's another thing. Like there's so many variables. So like why where does it come from? I mean, that's just like me, I guess. I don't know. It's just who I am kind of normally, and I just like let go. I used to be more shy. Like in my private, normal, personal account, I was never like this.
You've always been shy.
Yeah.
From Shai to Shay.
Yeah, but for some reason in the hobby, I feel like I could be a kid, actually be a kid again. I don't know why. Like I feel like because it's just cards. Yeah, I know some of them are expensive and all that, but it's just cardboard. You know, like let's just have fun. Like that's how I see it. But I wasn't really like I don't show this type of intense personality of this like playfulness in my regular Instagram. I don't know why in front of the hobby I'm like I don't care. So like I like that. I can really, I guess, be myself, right? And you guys accept it, so it's which is cool.
Well said.
That's great.
And, yeah, I definitely admire you. Like, aside from this podcast, personally, I don't feel comfortable just putting out this stuff. I'm pretty low key. I admire you going out there being yourself and just filming what comes to mind and having fun. It's the most important part, is having fun. We don't talk about all the drama, trimming, and all that on the show. We keep it about the cardboard. We keep it fun, and that's why we enjoy doing this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm having a blast, man. But yeah.
So what's going on? You know, with, it's funny because, you know, all of us are in New York City originally. You know, I mean, once you move to the US, but, you know, you're in Queens and Craig is from on Long Island, but in Manhattan. I'm Westchester County, New York. And now you, funny enough, flew all the way to Oregon, which is where I'm living now. And you're over at PWCC. So you went, if the United States is a town, you went crosstown cardboard fully. But what are you doing up there at PWCC? You know, it seems like that's a fun venture for you.
All right. Yeah. So there's some major things me and my partner Mark have been working on lately. So this is the early stages of what we've been kind of doing. We started this new little side fun projects, I guess you can call it, fund the card. You know, it's called funding your card. So it's basically a business model where, for example, collectors, you may have a collection of maybe, let's say, 100 cards, right? Maybe valued at 20K, random, all different prices. You see a card, for like, for example, a Grail that you must have, that's your PC, like it is what it is, cards for you only. You know what I mean? It's your thought process.
Mhm.
You can reach out, and sometimes you don't have the funds to buy. It could be on auction, it could be on private, whatever. You would basically let us know. We would get it for you. And then you can give us any cards you want. And then, for example, if it's 10K, it would be a 10% fee. So then if you would just give us 11K, keep dumping anything you want, whatever you have, just keep auctioning it off. It'll be all auctioned off. And then once it hits that, boom, you can consolidate with us basically. So that's the what we've been kind of doing. How it kind of started is I actually was kind of doing that. I think I mentioned it, like when you see a crazy card, get it right now, worry about it later. But I never elaborated how the hell you worry about it later, because this would stress anybody out. That's when I started like buying now and then worrying about it later, in terms of this is not the best advice, and only could be used towards if you have enough equity and enough cards already that you may not care about, but you just have them. You know what I mean? A lot of cards you fall out of love with and you never sold. Using those cards to get into a card you really, really, really want. So we would be those people to help facilitate that. And usually it's the best for extremely like rare cards, scarce cards, cards that are pretty expensive, things like that you would use us for. So yeah, and I can show you the card. When is this being aired? Do you know?
This will come out on Wednesday. We're filming this on Friday,
Yeah,
May
so
5th
5 days.
right now, but it'll come out on Wednesday, May 10th.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be posted. So you guys want to see the card?
Yeah.
What we came here for?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Show us the goods.
It's gonna look familiar to Craig's card. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
All right.
This is a cool little exclusive here. Damn.
Wow.
Did you show me that on?
No, you probably saw.
So
You
that
probably-
is.
You probably saw the soul of the game.
Oh my God. What's the other one?
Wow.
This is the momentous. There's only 5 in the world of this. There's only 1 year of flawless. Craig, I don't know if
Yeah,
you know,
put this in layman's terms. How
Yeah, can you-
significant that card is.
Yeah,
All right,
please describe that.
all right. So first, I'll get into soccer. So there's only 1 year of flawless soccer. Flawless soccer is the only set with match worn and on card auto. So to get into that, a lot of cards, there's going to be match worn but sticker auto, and then the other cards, there's going to be on card auto but it's player worn. So if you want the best of the best, like it's flawless, and they only made it 1 year. To give an example, what this is in basketball, what the hell is this? Imagine exquisite Jordan. Only 1 year though. Only 1 year of exquisite Jordan 03, and there's only for Jordan, there's only 61 of Jordan exquisites. How would that? This is
Wow.
like the equivalent.
And can you describe? I mean, people who are seeing it on YouTube are seeing it, but can you describe for the podcast listeners exactly what that is?
Oh yeah, so it's a flawless, momentous dual patch. It's a piece of sneaker that Messi wore. They're called the I think Zoom or something.
Addy zeros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've worn a few soccer boots in my lifetime.
Yeah, so yeah, you definitely know. The patches are like pink and blue, thick chunks of patches. There's Soul of the Game, and then there's Momentous. There's only 5 of these. There's 2 patches on it, on card auto, and it's in a PSA slab, PSA 8.5. But
A Lionel Messi. Wow.
Yeah.
So the greatest, that would be the equivalent of basically the greatest Michael Jordan patch auto to exist.
yeah, you can put it that way. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Instead of me saying exquisite, but just more general, patch auto, best Jordan. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
And it's a PSA 8.5. Was that right?
Yeah, it's a PSA 8.5. The auto is a 10. We should probably get that on too. So, but yeah, this is a type of card that you don't even know who has it, where to get it. It's like very, very scarce cards in like collectors' hands from around the world. Over the years, like we've built our network, me and Mark, he was always a dealer type. So he saw a lot of action. You know what I mean? I'm more of a collector mindset. So I'm more of like, I want to like buy something really good. And like, I don't mind holding it because it's like the best I can get for my budget. Him was like the moving. So that's how kind of like we kind of like team together, like we work together kind of well, I guess, is because he's kind of like opposite in the sense of the hobby. I'm more long term, he's more short term. So it kind of like balances out, I guess. But yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Mark is Empire State underscore sports cards.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's funny you mentioned that because I feel like it can tie into this whole mentality of getting rarer cards and the unique factor and buying it now, worrying about it later, like you said, as long as your money situation can support that. But I recently got this card from Mark, which is Magic Johnson Flawless Game Used Patch, and
Yeah.
not sure if it's the J or the S of Johnson,
Looks like
but
a
it's
J.
numbered out of 25 game used. Great patch. And I was negotiating with Mark, and I think the last comp on it was like 650, but it wasn't this patch quality. It was like a standard 3-color diagonal patch.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to let that go for less than the last comp. And I'm like, oh, come on. I'm like, come on. Which is totally, I get it. Of course, I want it for as cheap as I can get it.
Right.
But so I understood, and I'm like, oh, well, 650 was the last one. I know this patch isn't, this patch is much nicer, but how about 550, 600? And eventually I'm just like, I gave him a little, he's like, oh, I'll take 700. I'm like, would you do 675? Meet me like a little bit over the last comp, because it's not comparable when you factor in the patch.
Yeah.
So I understood, and we ended up getting a deal, for that card a little bit over the last comp. But what's your thought on paying over comps for a unique card in that kind of situation? Like, how do you value,
That's a
when it's
great question.
like that?
Extremely justified in that thesis of paying stronger for better looking patches. Not only that you will get a better looking card because the patch is nicer, so it should theoretically be worth more, right? Just on
Right.
that factor. But it is also rare to have nicer patches in cards. So not only looks good, it's also more rare. So yes, I do. The market agrees with it. I also agree with it. Like, paying stronger for certain cards. Like if you know Kobe limited logos, like, it's all based on the patch. You know what I
Yep.
mean? From Exquisite, like 0304, the finger point one, and the prices could double, could be legit. Like during
Yep.
the peak booms, like we've seen crazy. Like I was shocked by how much more people pay, just for nicer patches. I've realized like people really pay a premium, and it's been going on for that long, and it will continue to go on. I think that type of mentality, paying strong.
I would say we're a pro pretty patch pod over here. You
Yeah.
like that? You like that alliteration?
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
The patch is key. The patch is key. And that was a great deal for your buddy Mark there. I thought that was fair, that he was holding on because he knew what he had, in that situation with a unique patch. I mean, it's hard to compare that to a standard patch.
And those are the type of cards that we like, and they're more funner. It's more of a challenge because when we try to get some of these cards, it goes the same way. Well, like what you went through, we went through also in
Right.
card. You know what I mean? Because it's just a chain cycle. So like, you did. I agree with it. Paying for a better patch, it's totally justified. And I prefer that than paying stronger for the grade. I'm very, very like anti, like just because it's a PSA 10, the highest graded, it deserves that much premium. I don't like those type of cards, generally speaking. I'm more of like, I like the card because of the card, not because of the condition. That's always like more lower in the list. That's why if you saw, like, I have I have 7s, 8s, 9s. I just don't care. If it's cheaper, I'll buy that because I like the card.
As they say, buy the card,
Yeah.
not the grade.
Yeah.
Shay, as we wrap it up here, we like to keep it under an hour, so it's nice nice and consumable. You know what I'm saying? What do you want to see out of all of this for the next year, 5 years, 10 years? Like, we all love this for whatever reason, for our own reasons. We love collecting cards. What do you want to get out of this yourself, and what do you want to see so that way it's sustainable and more people will enter the hobby and it grows?
I personally think the hobby will continue to grow I'm not just saying this like everybody else, because I was a doubter. I'll be straight up. It was always a dorky niche thing, right? So there's two ways to look at it. So over the last few years during the boom, there were a few busts. Like I remember, like, you know, after like during the pandemic, there were some downturns where I was like, yo, this is it. Finally, it's over. You know, yeah, you guys had your fun. The hobby boom is over. I knew it. Then it comes back up. You know what I mean? Then I saw the prices actually, and it fooled me around like 2 or 3 times where I really thought that this was, you know, we had a nice run and it at least gonna stay. But then I did see like the fact that you can get another euphoric general market rise. That shows that a healthy market, ups and downs and cycles, like just like a stock market, real estate market, whatever. You know, I don't even like comparing that, but the fact that we saw ups and downs and it could surprise people, you know, like even myself, to be up or down is very, very healthy and good. So factoring all that, I think like the upside with, you know, the fanatics and all that, dude, man, it's a great time to be in the hobby. And I'm not just talking my own book, like, you know, like there's cards available like under $100. You know what I mean? There's entry levels for so many different price points, and players card sets. You know, the upside is endless. I think. So now, lastly, what I personally want to continue building out my soccer collection. So that's it.
And your brand.
Yeah,
Your brand, right? You do content. Yeah. It's good stuff. So it's a more than just the cards, but the soccer collection. Yeah, I can't wait to see what that turns into.
Yeah, and I realize, man, if I had to choose content or like the card aspect, I think I'm going to choose the cards
all day.
Yeah,
that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Does it worry you at all when you see some of these? I mean, there's a lot of posts out there, but some of the posts where cards that I would assume are in your sphere value wise, you know, maybe 5-6 figure cards, or some would consider priceless, and you see the major drops sometimes in value on those, you know, from like a sale a year and a half ago until now. I know it's, you know, thankfully disposable income, it seems like on your side, but what does that make you feel when you see some of those lower sales or stuff like that?
No. Just because this disposable income, it definitely hurts because, you know, like, especially with my background, like sometimes I pause and like sometimes like a $1,500 card, you know, like you may just brush it so fast when like in bigger deals, like in consolidating, but then when you take a pause, like that's someone's rent. You know what I mean? And like, you know, like I realized like that's like, then we take a second to think about that, the card that you're like just brushing over, like whatever, that's 30 days of living that a human has to do. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of value in real world. Like that's real. So like, that's when I start to like respect the card. You know what I mean? And it's just like a mental thing to be like, always be self aware of like how crazy and how lucky you are to be doing this, and, you know, and the values of all this, and not to get jaded. That's my problem, to be honest. Sometimes I can get jaded and come off a certain way, but I don't mean it, but you know, you get jaded, right? That's what it means. So
that's, as I like to say, clip that.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. We have the technology.
The AI, right?
But Shai, any closing thoughts here? This was great. This was great to just geek it out for an hour.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. You know, I appreciate it. You'll be seeing more of me. You know, I'm not going anywhere. You have to kill me to leave the hobby. So
we need you.
Yeah. So, you know, thanks for having me. I'm excited for the hobby. I'm excited for the pickups. You know, there's so much more exciting things it's gonna come out. Like, yeah.
And I assume we'll see you in Chicago.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we'll be set up. You guys definitely.
Awesome. Pull up. Maybe I'll finally scoop one of your Holland Reds off of you.
I have like about nice ones. Yeah. Let's do it.
We'll talk.
There you go. It'll be like the bank meetup all over again.
Nice. There you go. Full circle.
That's great. All right. Well, all right, Shai. You can definitely check out more of Shai's stuff, the funny videos and the insane card quality at Shaiway Vlogs on Instagram. And thanks for the time, bro. I'm very impressed by your humility and just everything that you talked about. You know, with the childlike joy of the hobby, even at the level that you've reached. It was a great time talking.
I appreciate it, man. Generally, thank you.
All right. Gents, have a good night.
All right. Peace.
Peace.